Hi guys, I'm Kandi from Hands-On Knitting Center, and I am here today to show you the parts of a crochet stitch. So I'm going to switch you over to my hands and take off the virtual background so that you can see it a little bit better. All right, I'm going to start with a slip knot. So this is how I do mine. I usually do it in my hand, but it's easier for you to see when it's on the table. And I'm gonna Okay, so I've got the loop laid like this. I turn it away from me so the tail is on top. I fold it over and grab the working yarn, stick my hook in, and pulling the working yarn should tighten that up for you. It doesn't really matter if you do it the other way, but I like it better this way. Now I'm going to chain 12. So that's my slip knot. Here's my chains. Just grab a loop and pull through. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so here's our chain. And when you're looking at the chain, this is your V. And when I'm holding it like I'm going to go back the other direction, this would be the top of my V and this would be the bottom of my V. And then if you look on the back, these are the back bumps. And I'm going to try and bring that up closer and see if I can get that. So these bumps on the back of the V are what I'm actually going to crochet into. One of our crochet teachers a while ago taught me you get a much better edge. Her name's Vicki. When you crochet into the bumps instead of into the V for that first row if you're going into a chain. Now, when I'm doing a much larger piece, I will always do a foundation row, a single crochet foundation row or a double crochet foundation row. I'm going to go into the fourth bump from the hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a double crochet. So I have wrapped. I'm going to go into the bump. I split my yarn there. Grab it. Pull up a loop. Wrap, pull through 2. Wrap, pull through 2. Now, even though I've only actually made 1 double crochet so far, this counts as 2. This is our turning chain, and that counts as a double crochet in most patterns. It will tell you if it counts or not, and that's important because some patterns count that as a stitch and some don't. So I've got 2, and I'm going to go across so I have 10. And I will show you that double crochet again just in case. So wrap, go through the bump, pull up a loop, wrap, pull through 2, wrap, pull through 2, wrap, go through the bump, wrap, pull up a loop, wrap, pull through 2, wrap, pull through 2, wrap, go through the bump, pull up a loop, wrap, pull through 2, wrap, pull through 2. You'll notice that when I'm pulling through, I twist. So I'm going to pull it back down, grab and twist, because if you try and pull through like this, it's not going to go through because it's catching that other loop that you already went through. So wrap, pull through 2. So watch how it twists when you pull through, wrap, pull through 2. And I'm going to do these last 2. So yes, it is the hardest part of crochet, I say, is always doing your first row into a chain. Now I should have 10 if I did it correctly. So let's count. Remember that one, that chain counts as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, I am not going to worry about weaving in my tail this time, since this is just a sample to show you guys the parts of a stitch. So let's talk about the parts of the stitch, and I'm going to zoom in and refocus so that you guys can actually see that pretty well. Okay, I decided that before showing you all the parts, I'm actually going to turn around, go the other way so that you can see a couple of different things. So I'm actually going to, before I turn, I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and that counts as my first double crochet. Then I'm going to turn. Some patterns tell you to turn, then do the chain. Some tell you to chain and then turn. If it is counting as a double crochet, so this will be important, if it's counting as a double crochet, you do not go into this stitch right here, because then you would be adding one. Okay, so you'll go in here. So I'm going to do another row of double crochets. So that counts as 2, 3. After you've done your first row into the chain, when you're doing your next row, you're typically going to go under both parts of the V. So here you've got V's on top, and most of the time when you're crocheting, you go under both of them. So you can see that there. Okay, you can see that part right there. So I'm going under both parts of the V. Okay, tail out of the way. And I'm just continuing to do double crochets all the way across, wrap, go through, pull up a loop, wrap, pull through 2, wrap, pull through 2, wrap, go through. Remember, I'm going under both parts, pull up a loop, wrap, pull through 2, wrap, pull through 2, wrap, go through the V, pull up a loop, wrap, pull through 2, wrap, pull through 2, wrap, go under the V, pull up a loop, wrap, pull through 2, wrap, pull through 2, wrap, go through the V. These are double crochets because they're a little bit easier for you to see what I'm going to show you instead of doing single crochets. Now I want to show, so this is one of the first things I'm going to show you. This is my turning chain over here. Okay, and so I should only have 9 right now when I count my chain that's over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And when, so my last one, this is one of the reasons people crochet winds up getting smaller and bigger and smaller and bigger, is because they don't realize they need to go into that. So then it gets smaller and smaller, and then they start adding, and so it gets bigger and bigger, and they go back and forth. You can go into the top loop, the top chain of the turning chain, which would be, I'm gonna pull this out so you can see it a little bit better and refocus. The problem with using this camera is it doesn't self-focus. There we go. So the top chain would be this one right here. Or you can just go into the hole that the chain makes. It usually tells you to go into the top chain, not into the hole, but I find that it's easier. It depends on what you're making. I'm making a sample, so it doesn't matter. All right, so I'm gonna chain 3 again and turn, and I'm just going to do 1 double crochet before I stop, and I'm going to point some stuff out. All right, so looking at this, here we go. Zooming in. It's very technical over here. All right, so right here is your turning chain, here's your turning chain, here's your turning chain. This is technically the front of the stitch because I was going this way, so I was looking at it while I was going that way, and this is technically the back of the stitch. So if you are a knitter, think of this as like garter stitch. You're seeing fronts of stitches and backs of stitches at the same time. So this part here, and I'm going to use my crochet hook, is the post of the stitch. Now that's a lot harder to find on a single crochet than it is on a double crochet, because on a double crochet it's taller. Something you can do in crochet that you can't do in knitting is you can make stitches taller. In knitting, you can make them bigger by using a bigger needle, but in crochet, you can actually make them taller. And I'm going to show you a little bit of what that looks like in just a second. So we have, this is the top of the stitch. It's those V's. This is the front loop. So sometimes you will have patterns that say go into the front loop only. That would be the front loop of the V. If it says go into the back loop only, that would be the back loop of the V. So the front loop is the side that's facing you and the back loop is the side that's away from you when you're looking at it. So the interesting thing here is you can make textures with that by doing front loop only or back loop only. So I'll show you that also in a second. Okay. So down here is my chain, which as you can see is nice V's because I used the bumps. So then this was my turning chain and my double crochets, turning chain, double crochets, turning chain, and I've only done one double crochet. And I think so this is the space in between the stitches, which you use that for post stitches because as I said, that's the post of the stitch. The part that's not connected is the post, and this is the top. All right, so now I want to show you. So I've been doing double crochets. I'm going to do a half double crochet and then a single, and you'll see that it gets smaller. So I'm going to do a half double, which means I do wrap it before I go through and pull up a loop, just like if I were going to do a double crochet. But instead of pulling through two, I pull through all three. Okay, so that's a half double crochet. A single crochet, you don't wrap first, you just go in and grab, wrap, and pull. So you can see that it got shorter. It's not super easy to see on this small of a little sample, but I'm going to now get taller again. I'm going to do a half double. So I wrap, go through, pull up a loop, wrap, pull through all three. So that's your half double. Double is wrap, go through, pull up a loop, wrap, pull through two, wrap, pull through two. You can do triple, wrap twice, go through, pull up a loop, wrap, pull through two, wrap, pull through two, wrap, pull through two. You can do what they call a double triple. So you would wrap it 3 times. I don't know why they call it a double triple, because to me, it would be twice as tall as a triple, which it's not. So I usually call it a quadruple. It's officially called a double triple. So instead of wrapping twice, you're going to wrap 3 times, go in, pull up a loop, wrap, pull through two, wrap, pull through two, wrap, pull through two, wrap, pull through two. So now it's quite a bit easier to see that you can see the post part of the stitch is getting taller and taller. So that's always the post, and I'm going to pull that out of the way. So this is the post every time. It's just how tall is the post, basically. All right. So here's my half double right there. And then here's my single. And your single only has 1 loop pulled up because you didn't do any extra wrapping. You didn't wrap beforehand. So those are the parts of a crochet stitch. So the anatomy of a crochet stitch. This if you ever need to stop in the middle, this is attached to your working yarn. This is your tail down here. This is still attached to your working yarn. You can stick a locking stitch marker through there. So let me grab one out of my little bin. And the lovely thing about crochet is I can stick a locking stitch marker, pull it, it won't pull out. It just you only need one because you only have one live stitch typically in standard crochet. And so there you go. So I hope that answers some of what the parts of a stitch are, and help you when you are working on a variety of crochet patterns. So there's your Tuesday tip for crochet. Have a good day.